George, it's fantastic to have you here. Can you tell us, first of all, what you feel the heart of this story is, and then what it was like working with Brad and, of course, Britt?
Well, I wanted to work with Brad, obviously, because he's just an incredibly talented guy. I love the idea of the optimism of the story. I thought it's nice that it's not an apocalyptic end of the world story of the end of the world. And Britt, fantastic. I mean, she's a star. She's just wonderful.
Tell us a little bit more about your character, because he's a complicated man.
Well, when I read the description, it said 55-year-old bitter guy. So I was a little disappointed when he told me he wrote it for me, with me in mind. It actually bothered me a lot, but.
If you could create a world for yourself and take anyone you wanted into it, who would it be?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a very complicated question for on the line. I'll tell you who I'd take. And this is honest to God truth. And it's not just because he's here. Hugh Laurie, I'd take him with me.
Good choice.
Because, let me just say this. Lovely musician, so and he's a fantastic cook. So I'd be covered in several ways. So I think Hugh.
Well, Damon Lindelof and Jeff Jensen came up with this idea, and it just really excited me because so many movies these days, you kind of know what's going to happen next, and with this movie, you absolutely do not know. And that seemed like a fun thing to make.
It's an astonishing central lineup, particularly George, Hugh, and Britt. Can you talk a little bit about what each of them brought to their individual role?
Well, it's part of the unpredictable nature of the film is using really wonderfully established veterans like George Clooney and Hugh Laurie, and also brand new, fresh faces like Britt Robertson and Rafi Cassidy. And between the two, great things happen that you wouldn't see coming, and that's what this film is largely about.
Can you tell us a bit about creating the look of the film? Because obviously it's very effects-driven, but that doesn't distract at all from the underlying story and the themes, I think.
Yeah, it's weird to do a place that's sort of a huge part of your imagination, but give it a tangible feel. And we went to Spain to this amazing complex designed by Calatrava to shoot it. So a lot of what you see in the frame is real, which is one of the reasons it looks so convincing.
What are you hoping audiences take away from the film overall?
The movies that I like best are the ones that are rides, but that you think about them later. And so hopefully we've made that kind of movie.
Just very quickly, can you tell us what we can expect from Incredibles 2? We're so excited to hear that's happening.
I can expect I'll be writing for a while.
Inspiration was really just to kind of make a movie that was about something that sort of rekindled our idea of a hopeful and beautiful and bright future. I think we get barraged with the other version, and I love those films and TV shows, but I kind of wanted to see if there was an alternative out there. And then you have to cast the people who are going to basically convey that message, because you want the movie to be fun. Nobody wants to go to the movies and feel like they're eating a plate of vegetables. And I think that George and Hugh particularly have incredible senses of humor, both personally and in the characters that they choose to portray. And then these two incredibly young newcomers, Britt Robertson and Rafi Cassidy, I think they just project this idea of youthful optimism that the movie is really trying to tap into.
It's pretty thrilling. I used to come here all the time to cover movie premieres as a journalist, so to actually be part of a movie premiere is rather surreal. Yeah. I think they're going to see a really exciting science fiction adventure about a really great heroine who goes on a cool journey of discovery to find this amazing land called Tomorrowland, and apparently meet George Clooney along the way. So how cool can that be? Brad and Damon and all of Disney spent a lot of time trying to find the right actress for Casey. And in Britt Robertson, we have a really great actress she's really funny, she's really emotional, she really kind of makes you believe in this dreamer character in a really contemporary way. She's a fantastic actress. I can't wait to see where she goes from here. She's great. George Clooney plays Frank Walker, who as a young man was a dreamer who stumbles into Tomorrowland and finds this amazing place and is captured by its wonder. But as we kind of find George many years later, when we find Frank many years later, he's kind of a fallen dreamer. He feels that Tomorrowland has kind of betrayed him, and he goes on an adventure with Casey to figure out what happened at Tomorrowland, and maybe he can get some of that old idealism back. Well, I love how we use special effects in this movie because we've used special effects in a really innovative, dynamic way to bring a city of the future to life in a really deep way, not just a sort of like skyline kind of way. We bring you deep into this city of the future, but we also use special effects in a really kind of like fun, action-driven ways. You get to see a rocket ship. You get to see a bathtub turned into a rocket ship. You get to meet some really cool-looking robots. So the visual look of Tomorrowland is pretty stunning. I think it asks the audience, what kind of perspective do you have? Is it optimistic, pessimistic? I think there's actually reasons to believe in both, but I think this movie asks the question, if we used to have an optimistic orientation toward the future, is there something still relevant about that we can bring today when things seem so doom and gloom? And so it asks the question, is an optimistic orientation to the future relevant?